So today we're going to take a look at several figure lines and as they relate to 1/12 scale. So with the figures I collect, and most people in the communities that are going to see this collect, they refer to 1/12 scale as 6-inch figures. In that respect, you'd be saying a 72-inch person or a 6-foot person. So with that being the case, it could be anywhere from 5'3" to 6'7", or whatever it may be. But when they talk about 1/12 scale being 6 inches, you're looking for a 6-foot person. So we're going to take a look at different lines and see how they compare to each other. We'll start with Mezco, and this is a Daredevil that I was working on. He happens to have a different head, but that doesn't affect the height difference. And this figure comes in just slightly above 6 inches. So he'd be somewhere around 6'2". So that's very respectable for that character. Next we'll do the same character, but this is a Marvel Legends version. And he comes in at around 6'4". See how he looks different. No, he actually looks the same. Yeah, I guess he's around the same 6'2" mark. He looked a little bit taller to me, but he's not coming up with the Mezco. So they're about the same. Again, in the same ballpark. Now you got a character like Wolverine that is supposed to be in the comics 5'3", and I don't think this figure is going to be anywhere near that. However, he does come in at about 5 7/8, so he does come in under 6 foot. So that's kind of neat, and you can see the height difference here. Again, not as tall, not as short as he should be. So if we were talking where he should be, would be somewhere around here. But that's still nice to see a bit of a height difference. Then next we have Neca, God of War. And he's supposed to be kind of a giant. Neca figures are a lot larger though. And he comes in at about 7 3/4. So, he's almost at that 8-foot mark. But it is neat to see him that way. We'll put him back here. Because again, he is a god. So, and speaking of which, we're going to look at Thor. And Thor comes in at about 7.5, and this is a Marvel Select figure. I should have said that. So again, being that he's a god, you can kind of get away and cheat with the height. He's not a normal person, but it is quite excessively tall. Put Thor over back here. I'm going to try to get all these guys standing by the time I'm done. I don't know how well that's going to work, but we'll see. Another one, we have an Italian company, Madleman, and these are actually listed as 1/11 scale. So they are supposed to be taller. And he comes in at about 6 3/4. So again, you can have a guy that's 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". So if you wanted some variety in your figures, this would work. So this one is a 3A figure. He does have a cool model head. He does have 3A boots. And he comes in at the same, just over 6 inches. So again, he fits in line with the Marvel Legends or the Mezco. The only difference being is that he's very gangly, very skinny. But again, if you're figuring an average person compared to a superhero, and you take that into account, I think that works just fine. So the next one we have is Crazy Figure. This is probably one of the ones I like the most. This one happens to be a custom Dr. Richtofen I'm working on, so the head is swapped out. The boots are from a 3A figure, so that may change things a little bit, and we'll take a look at another example. And he comes in almost right at 6 inches, so he would be right at 72 inches. Next up we have Soldier Story, which is probably one of my favorite just plain bucks. He's got a price from Modern Warfare head, and that's what I'm going to be working on next as one of my customs. And he comes in at right at 6 inches also. I think he'll stay. Next we have Luke from Star Wars Black Series, and Luke Skywalker was not a very tall character, so again there's some leeway in what you're looking at here, and he does come in at 5.5 inches, so he's 5.5 feet, and that's pretty close to what he would have been. I think he was right around 5'7", 5'8", Mark Hamill when he played the role. I don't know if he's going to want to stand. So we have another Mezco. This is Deadpool. And again, you can see on the bucks how much more muscular he is, just a bigger person. As far as the height, he comes in at, again, that 6'2", 6'3" range. Another Black Series figure, the Snowtrooper. Now he's a little bit taller. He's just under 6 inches. And you can see that difference between him and Luke. So that's kind of nice to see. This figure I bought to work on a custom, so he's not actually going to be staying in that form. This is a Coup model figure, and the head and the boots are from Damtoys, because right now Coup model only makes knights and things like that, so they don't really have a good pair of boots that I wanted. If I can get him to stand properly. And he comes in just at 6 inches also. So you're seeing a pretty good pattern with a lot of these figures, that they do have that same height range, so they are very compatible. Let's see if we can get some of these to stand again. We have another Neca figure. This is Rocky Balboa. I got the Stallone part right anyway. Again, the Neca figures tend to run a bit taller. And he comes in at about 6'6". And Stallone is nowhere near that. So, but again, if you want some height variety, it certainly does work. So this is a Great Twins figure. This was from the Terminator. I put a Peter Parker Marvel Legends head on it because it happened to fit well. And he'll come in about 6'4" or so. But again, great figure. Next up is a Damtoy. He does have a soap from Modern Warfare head. And he's maybe about 6'6", about 5'8". So we'll put him over here. This is another crazy figure. A lot of these I left without their clothing on, so you can see what the bucks look like. So some of them I did have some clothing on, but I thought just for the sake of this video, it'd be a little nicer to see actually what they look like. Again, 6 inches. I knew that guy wasn't going to stand. So here's an interesting one. This is a Toy Biz Dr. Doom. And he'll be just over 6 inches. So again, a good height for Dr. Doom. So if you pose your figures without any type of stands, I think you understand the dilemma with trying to stand a bunch of figures and having them all topple down in a domino effect. He's being very problematic. So we have a DC figure. I forget what line this was, but one of my favorites, Aquaman. Get him to stand, and he is again right at that 6 inch mark. So I haven't really had anything so far, and this is quite a few lines that stands out as being ridiculously disproportioned. Here's another figure. This is a Mafex Batman. This is the third rendition of it. And I absolutely love this figure. I have not done any height comparisons on my own since I got him, so it's kind of interesting to me to see where the Christian Bale Dark Knight is going to fit. I'm hoping it's going to fit in well. If you haven't seen this figure before, a fantastic figure. And he comes in at almost 6.5 inches. So, I'll put him back here. So he fits in super well with other superheroes. And I do like the fact that he's taller than an average guy. I don't know if he's going to stand, but... Next up is the Soap Studio figure. This is Arrow from the TV show. Now, I always thought of this figure being on the smaller side, so again, it's going to be interesting seeing a height comparison of him. He actually seems tall now. And Oliver's coming in at a little over 6'2", which is kind of good because he's not a very bulky character, so he does fit in well with a regular person. And then last but not least, I have the knockoff SHFiguarts Luke Skywalker. I bought this because it was super cheap, and when I got it, it was super cheap. His hair is actually painted gold, which is kind of weird. But again, Luke is a shorter person, so there is some leeway there. And he's coming in just under 5'5". So that's all the figure lines that I have. I'll list them all in the description. But again, there's nothing really here that, you know, can't be used, can't fit in. And it is nice seeing some height differences. You know, it gives a real world effect to it. Not everybody's a standard buck. And characters like Thor, who should be bigger, are. The only one that really may stand out a little bit is the Madleman, but again, you know, if you want a guy that's 6'6", 6'7", that's, you know, right there. Maybe you just want to upgrade the boots, that type of thing, but it's a really nice figure. So yeah, I'm happy with the way all these fit in the collection. So anyway, that's what I got. This was something somebody had asked me to do about a month or so back, and there were a few figures that some of the newer ones that I was waiting on. And now that everything's gotten here, I thought it was a good time to do this. So anyway, I hope everybody has a great Sunday night, and hope you have a great upcoming weekend, and I will catch you later.
Keep watching for the next video.
Come back soon. Bye.